Welcome to this new podcast show in which we dive into more detail in business in West Africa. I'm your host, Jim Bauman, and I'm joined by David Kpondehou, founder and CEO of Africa Samurai Consulting. Africa Samurai Consulting is a consultancy that focuses on bringing businesses from overseas to West Africa, as well as helping local entrepreneurs do business in West Africa. David, thank you for joining the show and being the co-host
Thank you
on this
for
new
having
platform.
me here this morning.
Today, since viewers and listeners don't really know who you are yet, I would like you to describe a bit more about your journey, how you got to where you are now. For all the listeners and viewers out there, I've known David now for about 2.5 years. So in that time, I've heard many stories. I'm really excited to share that with all of you. David was born in Benin, grew up in Ivory Coast.
No, born in Ivory Coast.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Ivory Coast and grew. After 20 years, I came to Benin to continue my university there. Yes.
I see. And what kind of differences did you notice between Ivory Coast and Benin?
Ivory Coast is, let's say, a very special country where, in Africa we have diversity culture. So in Africa, I learned a lot from this different culture, which let's talk about food, for example. Like we used to eat this acheke, which when you come to Benin, for example, people more we talk about gari or some other foods, which is different. Like even though we are all in West African country, so and then let's see, like in Africa, people, yeah, very very energetic, very energetic, and in Africa we make a lot of noise, but in Benin, people are a little bit quiet than in Africa, and that's something unique that I found in both culture, and yeah, that's something special from my perspective.
And what made you decide to go back to Benin and study at a university there?
Yeah, originally I'm from Benin, so after my baccalaureate, my parents decided to send me back to Benin so that I can learn about my culture, and then I can feel home, and I can also continue my journey from Benin. Yes.
So when you went, because I've heard this story before, when you went back to Benin,
Yeah.
you didn't know so many people at the university.
Not at all.
But what did you do when you entered the university? So it's a 4-year study, right?
That's true. That's true. When I come from Ivory Coast, I had a lot of connection there because I was, student leaders and those kind of position. I got them back in Ivory Coast, and then I know a lot of people there before coming to Benin. So once I learned in Benin, so I have to think about now how to rebuild all this new connection. So I thought about, okay, I always want to serve people. So how about, serving people at the university as a student leader, doing my best. So then I have to start, running for that, so trying to build new network with my colleagues and students, and and that's make me get more connection, and I think I've done my best to be where I am today, because networking for me is a very worthy and very important thing for people who would like to be business persons. Yes, I think so.
And what was it that drove you to want to serve people?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because the reality in Africa, where I was born in Africa, for example, it wasn't easy, because sometimes you have to try your best even for school fees and those how to daily life it was very challenging, because young people back there, they have potential and they have energy, but there is that opportunity that they cannot get. They lack opportunity. So I think for me, trying to be connected to the young people of my age and trying to see our common challenges and see how we solve them together was one of the main things that I believe I could do more. So trying to lead people for me and serve them, it was a way for me to contribute to the society. It's a way for me to give the best in me for people to feel better. So I still think in that same way when we have founded this Africa Samurai Consulting, which focus more on how to create job for young people. And our motto is don't look for a job, create it, because we think young people today, they have everything that could make them start their own business, just lack some financial opportunity or maybe some important training to become business person or to create their own business.
So before we dive into Africa Samurai Consulting a bit more, what's happened?
Yeah.
Going back, so you went to university, you did all this. What was the next step after you graduated university?
After university, I have been working for a company which was connecting business from Japan to Benin, and then that period I have to also start supporting a business person who wanted to be the leader of the country. So I got that connection to be involved in those in that let's say that journey, and it made me like have more connection with people in the higher level of the country. So I think connection in Africa with government and with big institutions is something very important for business also. So I have been to that level after the university, and then I've been working with the national shipping company because my diploma in the transport and logistics. But I feel like I need more knowledge in business, and I need more experience, and I need more connection abroad. So that's something encouraged me to join the Awaji Youth Federation, where we met, and I'm very happy for that opportunity, which brought me to Japan, and I'm here getting more connection and getting to know more people, and learning about other people's culture, background, and how to use all these assets for business in the future, even from now.
So we just rushed through like 10 years of your life.
Yeah.
for the viewers and listeners, we go from graduating Benin and all of a sudden we
are in Japan. That's also, I think that was really fast.
So that's what keeps it interesting, and that's one of the reasons why I really like spending time with David. Everything goes fast.
Well, it is
taking a bit of a step back because as David mentioned, we entered Awaji Youth Federation.
That's true.
So Awaji Youth Federation is a gathering of young people from all over the world, brought to Japan, Awaji Island, rural part of Japan, close to Osaka, Kobe, where we try to create new businesses or projects that benefit local society. Because in Japan, one of the problems they face is aging of the society, and a lot of people moving to the bigger cities. So while the population here on Awaji Island used to have 200,000 people, it's now already down to 150,000, with the average age being higher than the nationwide average. So that's kind of the idea we bought into and why we came. But how we got to this place was actually very different for David as well as for me. I'll go into my story maybe another time, but at least for David,
Yeah.
how did you go from working in Benin to actually arriving in Awaji Youth Federation
In Awaji.
in Japan? Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long story.
we got the time.
But I think I will make it short because it's better to go fast, as you said. And I think I was working, as I said, in the national shipping company. And then I found this opportunity, the Awaji Youth Federation, which is bringing together young people from all over the world to learn about entrepreneurship and business, and then that's in Japan. So I think, oh, that's something I really want to do, because I have been thinking about how to, connect more Japan with Africa, mainly West Africa, because I found out that there are less Japanese company operating in Africa, mainly in West Africa. There are few Japanese companies there. So for me, it is actually a good opportunity to explore. So for me, coming to Japan could be a way for me to learn about Japanese business manner and get more connection with Japanese company, and see from there I could connect them with local businesses in Benin. Japan with technology, and Africa we still have trying our best, but with Japanese technology bringing all this together, I think could be something solving society problem, at the same time creating new business opportunity for young people. Yes, so then I have to apply to this Awaji Federation program, and went through all the interview sessions, and yeah, after that have been selected in the final interview, and I get to be here November, the end of November 2017.
17 already,
Yes,
yeah.
2017. Already 3 years old now. Yeah, so, and then when I came, I have chance to meet great people with such an interesting background, with different culture, and all this made me, feel home, but at the same time learning every day from each other. And yeah, that's how I get here. And for sure, I can tell you, I have also a lot of connection while being in Japan, and many companies interested in doing something with Africa or with Benin. So we're still doing a lot of things with those companies. So I think that was good choice to be here and learn more.
So that was a good description, but I know it wasn't that easy to getting to where you are now, even during your time in Japan. So when we arrived in Japan, what was your first, because it was your first time out of Africa, right?
Yes.
So you you fly over the ocean.
Yeah.
You spend how many hours getting here?
20, let's say 20, around 24 hours.
24 hours. And you transferred twice?
Yeah, I transferred twice.
Transferred twice.
Yeah.
Then you finally land in Japan.
In Japan.
There's somebody there waiting for you to pick you up?
No. There's no one that day to pick me up, because I have to find one of our colleagues from Taiwan. But when I came to the airport, I just don't know how to get in touch with the Awaji Youth Federation program manager, but because I have their phone number, I just talk with someone in front of me, Japanese person. I don't even know how to speak Japanese, but I just try to make him understand that I need to call someone. So then I have to show him the phone number and say, please, I really want to call this person, and tell him that I'm here. And yeah, luckily that person was very kind with me and accepted to take the phone number and call from his phone the Awaji Youth Federation managers and let them know that yeah, I'm here, and I could talk to them and say, yeah, I'm David, I'm already in Japan, so what should I do next?
What time is it at that point?
It was around, I think it was around, if I'm not wrong, 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yeah, around 7 p.m.
I see. So you called the manager
Yeah.
and you said, I'm David from Benin, I'm here.
I'm here, I'm here. And they say, oh, you're already there, and we have to take it from there. And they told me, okay, they showed me the place where I should wait before the other colleague who already know Japan could join me, and we can, continue to Awaji. So that was very interesting story, because yeah, I really think for me there's no barrier if you have entrepreneurship mindset. Whatever you want to do, just do it. If you don't compromise other people, just do it. Yeah.
So then we go into our 1 year Awaji Youth Federation program.
Yes.
And Mondays to Fridays, generally 5 days a week,
Yeah.
we are working for the program, trying to create projects and new businesses on the
That's it.
island.
Yeah.
But at that time already, you come with the intention to not just help Awaji, but to connect Japan with West Africa.
Definitely.
So how do you do that when we're stuck on this island? And for the people who don't know Awaji Island, like I mentioned before, it's close to Osaka and Kobe.
Yes.
There's a huge bridge which you can only cross by bus or car. Costs quite a lot of money to cross it. Then the big city is at least 2 hours away. Where we were located with Awaji Youth Federation had really nice facilities, but it's not accessible at all. We cannot drive at that point yet because we don't have the proper licenses. But still, you want to connect with people from Japan and Africa.
That's true.
And where are most of those people located in Japan?
Tokyo, for sure.
Tokyo. So we're 2 hours away from Osaka, the second city or third city of Japan, but Tokyo is at least one night away.
Yeah,
if you don't take the high-speed train.
Night bus.
So then during that first year, how do you do it? Let me put it this way first. During that first year, did you accomplish anything? Personally?
Yeah. I think during that first year, we have been working on a project that have goal to, like our goal was to promote the program, So we were the voice of the program. We're trying to promote the program to institution and online and to government. Actually, that project, our project, was also strategic, because choosing that project give us opportunity to meet also new people and talk about the program. So for me, it was what I really appreciate doing every day, like connecting people and that. So I remember my first trip to Tokyo. That was my first time to Tokyo, and I have contacted the embassy because somehow I get connected to them, and I wanted to talk to them, and at the same time I have some contacts that I wanted to meet in Tokyo. So I went to Tokyo by myself. That was the first time, and I have 9 hours in the bus. Once in Tokyo, I meet a friend there, and the friend that's supposed to host me for the night wasn't able to, be available at the time I get to Tokyo, because I couldn't reach him anymore because of the internet issue. And so, okay, that's something I really learned from, because I have to sleep in cabin for the first time. Yeah, that's so struggling, man. Because we have a lot of space there in Africa, and if you have to go to hotel, you feel like you have a lot of space for yourself. Then I booked the hotel. I didn't know it was a cabin. I just booked it.
It was like those capsule hotels.
Yeah, capsule hotel. Yeah, capsule. And then after everything, after my day, I have to go back for sleeping. then I get surprised that they show me the caps, like the cabin, the capsule. I say, my God, today I have to learn a lot. I couldn't sleep for the entire night, man, because I was just surprised, and I never heard about that. That was the problem. So I said, no, I'm not gonna be sleeping here, and whatever will happen to me. So I will just keep awake till the morning and see what will happen. But that was very strange and hard experience for me. But I really like it, because after that I knew how to behave for next time. So I learned from that experience in Tokyo. But definitely I start making connection from there, because at least one a month I have to go to Tokyo once a month to meet company.
You say you have to? You set it up yourself, or somebody forces you to go?
That was for myself.
Okay.
Yeah, not for anyone, but I always try my best to be in Tokyo, because I think that was Tokyo is the place to make the connection, not Awaji, actually. So yeah, I could make some connection for my future goal, and I think I'm working with most of those people today.
And in that first year, when you're making the connections, did you get anything in return? Other than connections, like, did you get any business? Did you get any jobs or any financial returns?
Oh, not financial return, but I have to help. I met a solar company. Yes, who, like, the CEO was interested in doing something with Africa. They already started doing something with Nigeria, and I have to help them out for Rwanda and some other places in Africa. But thanks to the program also, I have got some connection with some important people in the system. So those persons also helped me to reach out on other companies and some specific connections, and from connection to connection, I think today I'm here. Yeah.
So during that first year, the focus for both you and me was trying to contribute to this program and this island.
Definitely.
And while we were doing that, we were trying to leverage and use that time to also benefit greater and longer term goals that we have for ourselves in life.
That's true.
And since you went to Tokyo every month, that cost quite a bit of money to go there.
It costs a lot.
And but you didn't get much in return, except for a lot of connections and starting to build your network. Having said that, was there any moment in that first year that you thought, this is too hard? This is just not going to work. I'm just bleeding money every month. What was it that kept you going to continue doing that month after month or week after week?
I believe in investing in ourselves, because investing in ourselves is the key resource for the future. So for me, going to Tokyo at that time was not losing money, but investing in my future, because it made me feel comfortable while in Japan. Because being in Japan without any connection for me is not imaginable. But today I'm in Japan with those connections. I think is something I really appreciate, and that make me feel comfortable. So for sure there are some times, because you have to think about how much I'm investing and how much am I getting back. But for me, is planting the seed and taking time to, let it grow, so that you can harvest it, or you can get the fruit in the future. So for me, it was a way for me to plant the seed and water them, like, every day, and that could help me to reach my goal.
So during that time, many times we would finish work around 6 or 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Then in the evening, I would work on my stuff. I would see you working on your stuff.
Yeah.
I might go to bed around 11 or midnight, and I still see David working. How many hours of sleep did you get on average per day during that period?
That time, my concept was I go to bed when I'm done, because I don't go to bed because I'm tired or because I'm sleepy. I go to bed because I'm done, and I give myself few time to get ready for what I wanted to do. So for me, staying awake till the morning working on a proposal or a project, it was just something I get used to it. So I think that was the price to pay, because in anything for me you need to pay the price. So for me it was the price to pay to get things done and to get ready for my dream. Yes.
So then you enter AYF with this idea that Japan is this great technologically advanced country and it can bring all these things to Africa.
Yeah.
You're spending 1 year trying to connect with different people. You're learning a lot of cultural lessons about Japan, particularly the speed at which negotiations go and how many times you have to meet people to actually build the relationship for them to take a step. We finish our year at Awaji Youth Federation. We both decide to join the company that is supporting Awaji Youth Federation from our second year. In between that first and second year, you have a 1 month break. You go back to Benin. What is it that you do at that time?
Oh, yes. So going back to Benin is, for me, as I said from the beginning, is serving other people is something I really appreciate. So for me, whatever I learned during the program, I try to make try to create some material for that, from that like experience, which I have to share with my community or my people back home. So when I went back, I have to organize several conferences and entrepreneurship, like a meeting with a young entrepreneur and share with them my experience I got in Japan. And I think I really enjoyed that. That was something interesting I did in the university and some other places in the country before coming back to Japan.
And you set up Africa Samurai Consulting at that time as well, right?
Definitely. Yeah. So we have to set up this African Samurai Consulting because with my team there, with my colleague there, we were thinking, even we got some partner in Japan, so we need to be prepared over there so that whatever opportunity or whatever needs from Japan to Benin, we can legally be, helping people. For sure, I'm not leading that company myself from here, but I think we have the manager in Benin who is taking care of everything. So I'm playing the role of connecting opportunities, solving those people who have some specific issues with dealing with maybe Benin. When they contact me, I have to connect them and solve the problems. So I think that's something I'm mainly doing. But definitively, this is my future because I think after all this journey, the Africa Samurai Consulting is what I will be doing for the next step by myself.
So you go to Benin, you try to talk to all these young people, you set up the company, you come back to Awaji Island, start your second year with the company Persona. And what is your mindset in that second year? You still want to go every month to Tokyo and connect people, or did anything change? What were you thinking at that time?
Second year, I went even till Saga and some other places. I haven't changed my mind because from the first year, I have now to evaluate what are the kind of people I really need to meet. Because from the beginning, I was meeting more people and more people, but I start selecting the relevant people to meet, like related to my goal. Then I figured out that, I've been spending a lot of time maybe meeting more people, but not the most important or relevant people. So then in the second year, I have to choose now who do I really need to go to meet and for which purpose. And I think that time I learned a lot, and I think now whatever I've been doing during the second year, those connections still valuable for me, and we're doing something together for sure.
So in that second year, do you pick your do you find your connections yourself, or it's your network that you built in the first year that's starting to give you leads on who you should talk to?
Second year, sure, the first year I have built that network generally, but those networks lead me to another network and to another network, and so that's the way, because for sure you might meet some people who really doesn't have something to offer you directly, but they always know someone who can help. So that's the way. So I think even though I made a lot of connection in the first year without selecting the key partners, I think those connections helped me to get more connection in the second year. So I think that was something important to me as well. Yeah.
So slowly, all that work that you started putting in the first year starts paying dividends and giving you things back in the second year.
Sure.
And you're now getting the luxury to pick who you want to meet with and how you want to spend your time.
Sure.
And you mentioned earlier that you started going to other cities as well. So for the listeners and viewers out there, the focus was originally Tokyo, which is on the east side of Japan. Just now David mentioned Saga, which is all the way on the other side of the country. So you're starting to go all over the country, starting to put even more resources, time and money into it. But it's because you believe that this is something that can work. Then in that second year, you're starting to build the more specific connections. What happens from there?
I think from there I also start getting some partners, and I think I believe with those partners we're gonna achieve great things soon,
So you managed to connect those partners with other partners in Africa or businesses in Africa?
Yeah. For example, during the second year, one of my partner currently working in Benin now in the renewable energy with the government. One of the government projects, I connected them to the project and tried to guide them till they win the project, and they're working on the project now. And I think there are some other partner I'm dealing with now in some other specific project, which is aligned with my goal. So I think that's something interesting from my perspective.
Then I'm not sure to what extent you want to share this story, but last year in August, was it July or August, there was a major event in Japan related to Africa.
Yeah.
That's where you really went from building your network in Japan to reaching like the highest level of network.
Yeah. That one is.
What was the event, David?
Oh, the TICAD Tokyo.
So what is TICAD for the people who don't know about TICAD?
TICAD is a Tokyo International Conference on Africa Development.
Okay, and they hold it every couple of years.
Yeah, there's every 3 years. I think every 3 years, and I think that TICAD last year was one of the main TICAD that I targeted last year. So I went there. I have met a lot of people, a lot of companies, and I also have this all the entire key people from my country, government related people, who joined this this event as well, this conference. So, but for sure, I already know most of people before coming here, so it was easy for me to rebuild the connection with some of them, and that was pretty interesting also while in Japan, having those kind of connections. But what I really believe is having the connection is one thing, but now having making best use of them is also something important. So I think this is the time to find those partners who are really interested in Africa or West Africa to, help them to, get used for those connections to build a sustainable business together.
So TICAD finishes, you expand your network even more. At that point, you tell me the story of what happened at the event, and you say, Jim, by now,
Mm.
pretty much every African person that lives in Japan
Mm.
knows of David
Mhm.
from Benin.
You think so? No, I don't think that I'm that known in Japan because, you know, we have a lot of people who have been in Japan for 20 years, 30 years, and I just came, you know, 2 years ago, so I'm not sure how much I know people or people know that like know me, but I believe I'm making sure that, you know, I meet the right people, even African or Japanese. I make sure I meet the right people to build together our strategy or to build together this future, you know, to prepare the future together because having the right people with you is very worthy for the journey of being an entrepreneur. Or I believe whoever I meet today will be relevant and very important value for me tomorrow and for each other because I will also be, you know, what can I say, a resource for that person as well.
So I have two questions related to that. First is, how do you decide what is the right person?
Hmm. Well, the right person is mean uh, um, you know, the person who share the same vision and value, you know, with you is very. It's that I call those people I call right person because there are some people who are not actually future oriented. I believe that's also something good, but if you deal with people and they are not thinking only about today and they think, okay, oh sure, we're going to do something together in the future. So those people are very important for me because they are not just thinking about today. They are not thinking about what is in it today for me today, but they're thinking about vision, like how do we do this together to grow and make it more bigger. So that's something I think very important as like one of the key point values and like yeah, I already told them like value and vision is very important.
Right. And the second question related to this is, you're now 2 years in,
Mm.
your network keeps expanding, you're starting to meet more and more people.
Mm.
How do you maintain that growing network?
Mm.
Do you email everybody once a week, once a month? Whenever something pops up in your mind, do you send them a message? How do you manage to keep all those connections alive?
That's something a little bit hard to manage, but there are some key people uh, with whom you might be in touch every day, daily basis because of what you're sharing or because of your daily activities. But some other people, you might it's a bit difficult to keep in touch daily basis, but monthly or occasionally it's good to check like share, like send them message and checking them on them like to know if everything is going well. So those kind of message I used to share them every, let's say, 1 or 2 months. It depends on the situation. Yeah.
Okay. And you told me before with many of your connections that you have right now, that some of them actually want to help you, want to do something for you, and that you tell them, not yet, wait. And originally, when we first met each other, I didn't really understand what you mean by that. Now I'm starting to slowly understand that your philosophy is about trying to do more for the other, continue to do more for the other. Don't ask. Try to not ask anything for as long as possible, so that the other person really starts to trust you, and finally the other person feels so strongly that he or she has received so much value that whatever you ask, if it's within their power, they want to help you. Is that a good summary of how you try to build the relationships?
Yeah, I think you got the point because you need to give first before expecting from others. For sure, there are many ways of doing business, but if you take the time, or keep asking people without giving anything, then you're not going to build a long-term relationship. And especially in Japan, business is based on trust. So if you don't have that valuable asset or something to propose, it's better to just wait for the right time. But at the same time, I think as much as you give to the other, for sure you will get something back. So I think that's the way you summarize it best. Yeah, the best way.
Then we're almost in present day where we are right now. You've spent at that time 2 years building up your network, getting your relationship, starting to connect really businesses with West Africa. Then we enter our 3rd year a few months ago, living in Japan. So far, you've done everything part-time, right? We've worked 5 days a week for the company, and you spend 1 or 2 days trying to work, and the evenings to work on your own business. You still manage to sleep a few hours every night and keep it going. Then now in the 3rd year, what is Africa Samurai Consulting like now? What is your strategy for this year?
For Africa Samurai Consulting, currently we focusing on promoting digital marketing in West Africa. So we trying to catch this opportunity of lack of online businesses in West Africa to create more opportunity for young people by providing digital marketing and IT trainings. And I think those are the things we think it's really needed these days in West Africa. So we are, let's say even in entire Africa, because in all Africa we need to take things from physical to digital. So then we are trying to be a leader in that sector. So we know from Japan to Africa, digitalization is something we can promote, and from our side we're already getting some partners to work with, and we are building that platform slowly, and we believe to be the leader in that sector, digital marketing, in few months or few years.
Okay. And was that the idea you had when you started the company as well? Or did you change direction a little bit in that 1 year span?
I haven't changed that much, because basically creating that company the idea was to promote and connect Japanese businesses to Africa. Then with the time, we realized that the most important business to promote could be related to the digitalization. So we're focusing on that now. But any other business opportunity that can contribute to social development, because for us it's bringing technology to solve social issues. Then from there we make the business, and then we believe in social entrepreneurship. So I think we're starting from digitalization today, but we're still working on many other things. So yeah, we haven't changed anything actually, but we're trying to make sure that we focus on one part of our original plan.
Okay. Then I think we're reaching the end of the episode. We're pretty much caught up to where you are today.
Okay.
There are a few quick questions I want to ask about, because you've been living in Japan now for 3 years.
Yes.
And since I know you, I know that what you imagined Japan to be when you first arrived and what you've experienced in these 3 years has changed your, not so much your opinion, but your idea of what Japan is like quite a bit. What would you say are like a few of the key lessons you've learned about Japan in these 2 or 3 years that you've been here?
That's good question. Thank you for asking that. I would say I do keep believing that Japan is a good country. It is a country where there is a discipline, and where it's a country where people are very polite, and it's a country where people are very honest. So I think I believe in that, and I really appreciate those values. So that's something for myself is still very important. So, but maybe Japan, with the time, I think I learned also that uh, Japan is not always using or in all aspect the technology that we have been thinking or have been thinking uh, being the source and the key of the country. In the country, I don't know the best way to say it, but you know, when we are outside, Japan is the country of technology. But when I came here, I understood that there are tech companies and there are other companies. But I was thinking in all sort of company they're using technology and the high technology. That was my original thinking. But actually no. Actually, there are tech companies. There are few other companies using the technology, but there's still some company who like some company for some reason are not really interested in the technology, but still doing things in traditional way, which is something I really respect also because of the society, the culture of making sure to conserve whatever we like have been gained in the past. So this is the culture. So they make sure that they keep things more traditional, and that's something great also. But that's something I've learned, and I believe that lesson will be useful for me also in my journey. And maybe one last thing that I also learned is in Japan you make sure that you plan for at least 80%, and then you can realize like the other 20% could be for the implementation. So business wise, we don't really need to rush based on what I learned. So we really need to be patient, and you know, build the trust and make sure that you create a clear plan, and you know, after those steps then you can move for the real business. But when the Japanese person say, okay, I want to do this with you, that's another step and another important key point that I learned. They really want to do it. When they decide to do something with you, then when they decide to sign an agreement with you, then from there things going to move very fast, and I really enjoy that as well as a training and a good experience to know. Yeah.
And we've been focusing the last couple of minutes a lot on coming from Africa, living in Japan now, how you try to bring Japan and Benin closer, or West Africa closer to each other. But how is your Japanese language ability? Do you feel you can communicate in Japanese with businessmen now, or not?
About Japanese ability is still a little bit hard for me because I'm still struggling with that. But
and the reason I'm asking is I know that I want to let all the listeners and viewers know that even you don't speak the language, you're able to accomplish all this that you have described. Building up the relationship, starting to connect the companies across different cultures, different countries. You've observed a lot, of how people think, how they move, how they act, so that you don't try to trample on their culture, hurt their feelings, hurt their pride. So you're respecting the culture from both sides, but even though there still is language barrier, you're managing to accomplish all these things.
That's all.
And even you didn't go into too much detail with TICAD or some of the other events, but I know that there have been many instances in these 2 or 3 years where you're not actually invited to join a certain meeting or certain activity, but you managed to find a way to get in there, and that it's all about that persistence. That is something that I really respect about you.
That's the third door.
The third door.
Third door.
I mean, the listeners and viewers don't understand the reference, but there's this book called The Third Door that I recommended to David to read, and he read it. 1 month later, we meet up again. He comes back to me and he says, "Jim, I used the third door," and that's how he told me he managed to get into TICAD. So
that's something. The third door was some habit that I used to have. Like
explain a little bit what the third door is about, David.
Yeah, the third door is when in any kind of official event, whether you are the VIP or whether you are just being invited. So
so most people go through the first door.
Yeah.
The VIPs get like the special
door.
Second door's entrance.
And the third door is the person who really was not expected to be there, and
And they just find any gap or any way to get inside that building.
He just managed to be there because of his personal goal, because of his vision, but it doesn't compromise anyway the event, because make sure that you don't compromise people space, like you don't compromise people while being trying to force or while trying to use the third door. So it's something I can just say it's entrepreneurship mindset, because if you stop because someone stopped you without a reason, then it look like you don't believe in what you want. Because if you really believe in what you want, you will keep pushing. We keep pushing until you get it. So for me, I had those experience, and when I read the book Third Door, and I believe that that book inspired me also. Like it made me understand what I've been doing actually, because I was just doing it without having read the book. But I think from now on, I know how this book also contribute to a lot of people's life. So yeah, what else you want to know?
I think the viewers and listeners have gotten a pretty good impression of your journey going from Ivory Coast and Benin to Japan and starting your own company. So just to give a quick wrap up of a few of the things I noted down. You grow up in Ivory Coast. You go to Benin, join the university there. Don't know anybody. By the time you graduate, almost everybody knows you. You start to work with people that really want to do something big for the country and for the area, which inspires you to have such a lofty and grand goal as well. At some point, you feel the opportunity is there. It's the right step to move to Japan. Totally different country, culture, business culture, environment. You make the jump. You learn a lot of lessons here. You hustle on the side, trying to set up that connection between two countries. Something you said really nicely is about planting the seed and giving it water every day. Then wanting to serve the people is what you feel very strongly about. Always trying to give, and keep giving more.
Yes.
Almost giving the other person a sense of guilt that they're not giving enough back. Even though that's not the intention, that's almost the effect that comes as a consequence. And right now you're at the point where you've built up your platform here, and you're starting to some of the seeds are starting to sprout a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and you see even more opportunities, not just in Benin, but also here in Japan.
Sure.
Is that a pretty accurate summary of?
Yeah, I think you made good summary.
Okay.
And talking about my Japanese ability, I believe if I could speak Japanese, I could have done more. That to be honest, but I still learning. And making sure that I can converse in Japanese with Japanese business partner in a few years.
Let me ask this final question then.
Mm.
So, you've been able to do all this despite your Japanese not being at the highest level.
Mm.
If you could go back in time,
Mm.
and you could spend your time a little bit differently, so that every day you would focus more on Japanese, but instead you couldn't accomplish all this that you've accomplished now, would you take that action or not?
I
Because
think
it's a trade-off, right?
I think what I've done is I couldn't avoid that because that was my personality. I couldn't avoid that, but I could have maybe give a little bit more time to the Japanese as well. So I'm not regretting not being able to learn the Japanese at that time, but I could have done my best to move with the both at the same time, because the connection I make during that time also, I really appreciate that. I cannot regret that. So I think I really think I could have done my best, but to learn the language, but I believe I still have time to make it happen.
So the valuable lesson here is that you cannot change the past, you can only learn from the past.
Yeah.
And that no matter what happens, what comes on your road, there's so many different ways to tackle it and to get it done.
Sure.
So rather than continue looking back, just always keep moving forward and keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, David, thank you.
Thank you,
Today
bro.
it's always
Thank
a
you very much.
blast.
Thank you for
So
for
today
that.
we didn't talk too much about West Africa, how to do business there, how to grow the business there. That will
Yeah.
start from tomorrow's episode. But I hope everybody got a good idea of what David is like. If you have any questions or feedback, drop a comment below, or if you're listening to this on a podcast, leave a comment in the review section. If you want to get in touch with us, in the show notes as well as in the information section below, you will find links to all of our social media, as well as David's company's website, Africa Samurai Consulting. So feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be back with another episode tomorrow, wherein we will really talk about how to do business in West Africa.
Definitely.